Pak Ciputra, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview with us for the Institute of Societal Leadership, Singapore Management University. So can we just start off having you tell us briefly about your background, your childhood. You had a very difficult childhood. You lost your father when you were 12 years old. And how did that inspire you or affect you to become who you are today?
Okay, first off, my hearty condolence for the passing away of
Lee
Mr.
Kuan
Lee
Yew.
Kuan Yew.
Yes, thank you.
I really admire him.
Thank you.
I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from Singapore because of him. It's really, I really admire, I respect. We lost really a very great leader. Maybe the biggest leader in Asia or in the world. And I think that we Indonesia, not only me, has to thanks because we have a great leader next to us that not we only learn from our leader, but also we learn from him. And I think Lee Kuan Yew not influenced Singapore, but he influenced his neighborhood and in the whole world. He is a man of integrity, a man who are very professional, and entrepreneurship. I call it government entrepreneurship.
Government entrepreneurship.
Government entrepreneurship.
I see. So Lee Kuan Yew was like a mentor to you?
Yes, a mentor. I met him maybe 3 times I met him, but 2 times I have a small meeting with him. We are about 10 Indonesian businessmen, and we have meeting with him, and we discuss a lot of things. And the way he put the question is really amazing, different than the other. He always something new. Lee Kuan is something new, and something useful, and something wonderful. Okay, to start with your question about my childhood until I entered the university. That's the first phase. I born in Sulawesi, in central of Sulawesi, a small, we call it small kampung. My father owned a shop. But when I was 10 years old, with my brother, he liked us to study in Gorontalo, in North Sulawesi, about 500 kilometers away. Thus he sent me and my brother to study there, go to the Dutch school. And that is start my story. We went to the Dutch school. For the first year, I can go to the second year. For the second year, I cannot go to the third year. Because the study is in Dutch, I really hate to learn Dutch because we don't use Dutch at home, but I have to use Dutch. And my memory also is weak. I don't like to memorize what I really don't need it. I only to memorize what I really need it. So, and I am also naughty, I am very active. So that I have a hard education from my auntie. I stay with my auntie. They are very hard. If we make a mistake, they hit me, they tied me, they put in the store. And I really hate the whole family. But that's life. But I thanks for the hardship I have to learn when I was young. And then the Japanese come. So they bring me back to my father and mother. When I was 12 years old, my father suddenly caught by the Japanese. They said that is mata-mata, what's mata-mata? Spice. That spice. They take out from a house, he take him, put in the small ship, and from Somo, they put in the bigger ship, and they bring it to Manado. After 9 months, they caught from our area, maybe 10 people, and whole Gorontalo, maybe about 70 people. After 9 months, they released him. But my father one of the prisoner who already passed away. Now I said, I have no father. What shall I do now to be successful? And at that time I decided, I must become architect. I must become architect because I know from my father, my experience with my father, I have talent to become architect. But I know in mathematics I am very strong. And in art, my father is very talented in art. He's my mentor, my father. My mother is working very hard. Both have very high integrity. So I decided, now I have to stand alone. I must be independent. I must become architect. So I told to my mother, I will study again, but in Indonesian school, because I don't need to learn Dutch, I don't need to learn Chinese. So I go to the school, I register myself, and they accept me. In the sense then, I always become the best of the class. Also in middle school, in the high school, I always top. I always, even in university, I also in the top of the class. So I went to the school, to the elementary school, for 4 years, 7 kilometers. Thus I have to go 7 kilometers in the morning and go back in the afternoon at 7 o'clock. 7 kilometers is about 14 kilometers.
Walking.
Walking, running, walking, running. What I did in the farm, as a gardener, I become a farmer. Through the week, I go to school and I become a farmer. But on Sunday, I become a hunter. We hunt
Wild boars?
deer,
Deer.
wild boar, and anoa, and babirusa. So a lot of wild boars and wild animal there. And sometimes, most of the time we get, and sometimes we don't get it. And my mother, I live only alone with my mother. My brother and sister live in another city. And my mother is very happy if I got a wild boar or deer or anoa. So that's maybe the entrepreneurship. Sometimes many times you success, or sometimes you success, sometimes you failed. And that time when I run like a Tarzan, I like a Tarzan. So when I went to the middle school in Gorontalo, I have a capital of running to the school and also to hunt wild animal. So I went to the university, my wife followed, and we married there with my wife. She walked, halfway I also walk. And at school, not only walk, I formed already company. The name is Ciputra, consultant company. I learned architecture. Why I will not become consultant? So I formed consultant with my two good friends, Mr. Sofian and Mr. Brasali. Wow, I am happy. I get some earning. But before I finish my school, experience as consultant, I don't like to become consultant. I don't like to become architect. Because why? Architect, I have to beg to the government, I have to beg to the businessman who own house
For projects.
for me to design.
Yeah, for
I
projects.
don't like it. I like to create my own project. So I tell to my two partners, if we finish, we have to work as developer, real estate developer. So when I finish, and this is new life, I said like this, we have to move to Jakarta. We have to form a joint venture with the municipality because the municipality own the project. But we will ask them to make a developer company. And for 3 months, I tried to see the governor.
Was it Sumarno?
I am a Sumarno,
Sumarno.
Dr. Sumarno. for 3 months. I said, I go just to see him like that. I said, no response. No, I have to see him personally. So I have to look for my friend, my uncle who knows him. And I found one who knows about him, introduced to him. And I met Sumarno. He looked to me. What do you like to do? I said, I'm architect now. That time architect still very rare. I have 2 friends. We like to develop the city of Jakarta, help you to develop of Jakarta, because I read in the newspaper, in the Star Weekly, the magazine, that you are going to develop Jakarta. He said, okay, so what do you want? I said, I need a project. I need to create project. In principle, agree, but he tested me first. He said, okay, I like to renovate a project in Senen area.
Pasar Senen, the Pasar Senen.
Yes, about 17 hectare renovation, rebuild. So please make me a proposal. Okay, a challenge to me. I said, give me time, 1 month. I'm to make a project study, to make project design and model.
Wow.
Because I own a company in Bandung with my friend. So we make a proposal with the model, design, and we let him see it. The project about 3 times 3 meter, the model. He's so surprised. It's like this. You're going to remodel, total new. Just before, most is shop house. Now it's modern shopping mall. Wow, he's surprised. Wow. He's so happy. I said, okay, I will make appointment with the President, Sukarno. So he make appointment, he bring us to see the President Sukarno. Sukarno also is very happy. He's surprised. Wow, it's really modern, not more shop house. So, of course, I'm very happy. So when I proposed to, and of course he asked me, how you are going to build this? We need to build a subsidiary company between you and us, and with several businessmen in Jakarta. We create the Jaya Group, and I am very happy that Jaya Group now is very strong. The 3 of the subsidiary company become public company. With market share now maybe about market capitalism maybe around 3 billion US. So without capital it's very small. Again, to me is capital very important, but more important is your capability as entrepreneurship. After 10 years there, I think that I need to have a private company. So with their permission, I formed a private company, but I'm not in the board of executive. I'm only the chairman. Become chairman, and it's born another, now they have Metropolitan Group owns 3 subsidiary companies in public.
Listed, publicly listed.
Yeah, and Metropolitan Group also has investment in Singapore. I formed Metropolitan Group because I know that with the municipality I am only minority. I think I will not
control.
Maybe one day can fire me.
Yes.
And it looked that with the government a lot of bureaucracy. So I need to more free hand to handle my project. And without leaving Metropolitan Group, I formed Ciputra Group. Which when my children already passed university, I said, I need my own company, our own family company.
So that's 1981.
1981. Or 32 years old.
You worked very closely with Pak Ali Sadikin,
Yes.
the governor. And a lot of people say they admire his leadership qualities.
Yes.
Did you find him somebody special?
Oh, he's very special. He's a man of, he's very honest, high integrity. What he promised you, he support you. I tell you a story like this. One day we're going to renovate the projects then. And then come as consultant, like a broker. He came there, he told to the people, he asked them together, don't sell this to the government. We have the right to protect ourselves. And maybe his rights, they can protect it, they don't like, may not sell it. So everybody boycott us. They will not sell it. I have to report to Mr. Ali Sadikin, to the governor. I cannot buy any land because they already boycott us. Why like that? You have a consultant, a broker, said, don't sell it, don't agree with the renovation. Oh, like this. So he asked me, Ciputra, go with my assistant. No, with my driver. Fetch him. So I go to the broker. I said, the governor like to see you. Okay. You like to see him? Okay. So I bring him to Ali Sadikin. In the front of his room, we sat there together. Ali Sadikin is not in his room. He just come, he went outside and he come to his office. He saw me, he saw that broker. Oh, you are the broker, yeah? Come here. He fetched, go with me. In the room here.
Really?
Not ask any question. Tuck,
Whoa.
tuck.
Whoa.
You like to engage the government for a renovation? Yeah. You like to continue? No, excuse me. No, yes, no, yes. And he tell Ciputra, bring him back.
Wow.
He's very big. I sat in one car with him. I'm so afraid. But the man is
Shaking
shocked already.
already.
And then, at 4 o'clock, Ali Sadikin come back. Ciputra, where is that person? I don't know, maybe in his office. Let me go there. He came back there. You are still here. Go out from here.
Oh, really?
You see Ali Sadikin.
Wow, very strong.
Wow, very strong character. He's an army.
Yes.
He's a marine.
Marine, yes. Yes.
He's a man of consequence. I remember when we built the Ancol project, I thought this must be a beautiful project. So I asked from Ali Sadikin, Mr. Governor, let's give to Jaya to continue this project. Do you have money? I will arrange the money. I will make a joint venture with you. How you make joint venture? Ponon Jaya belong to the government. Government own 40%. Let's make joint venture. You get 80%. I get 20%. Because the land belong to you. But the project neglected and they have a lot of debts.
Oh.
Debt in rupiah, debt in dollar. I will pay back the debt. Are you sure? Yes. How you going to do it? I said, I'm going to borrow money from the government with your recommendation and I will give my personal guarantee. Okay, you try. And then I try. I get loan from the government bank. I give my personal guarantee. So the project Ancol give to me and we develop. And one day he come from United States. He bring a brochure of San Diego SeaWorld.
Oh,
I like to be like this
Oh.
in your Ancol, in our Ancol project. I call it Dreamland Ancol. Okay, give me time. I study. Okay, Mr. Governor, that is social, no profit. If you like to be like this, that I build together with water park, with art market, and with housing project. We combine, we get money, we build this one. Okay, what you need, I support you. So he always support me. What he said is consequent. I support you. Yes, he support me. That is the beauty of him. This, I really respect him. Not only me, the whole Jakarta people. Even Yusuf Kala just said to Ahok, if you like to have legacy like Ali Sadikin and Lee Kuan Yew, you must have wisdom,
Yeah,
not temperamental.
that's right. You're a big pusher for entrepreneurship. You know, in Indonesia, you keep encouraging the young people to say, you know, learn from entrepreneurs. How do you define entrepreneurship? Then is it something that can be taught?
This is interesting story. In my book, I said, entrepreneur, a man who can change garbage become, who can really new idea, can develop new idea. If you can change garbage become gold, you are entrepreneur. Like Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, I said, entrepreneur consists of three things. I call it gaps. Government entrepreneur, academician entrepreneur, business entrepreneur, and social entrepreneur. Mr. Lincoln is government entrepreneur, but he knows also about academic, he knows about business, he knows about social. The government must be all round. Why I really admire Mr. Lee Kuan Yew.
And what category are you for the entrepreneur? You don't consider yourself a government entrepreneur, but you are art entrepreneur and you are business entrepreneur and you are social entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're just missing the G.
When I'm retired, about when I is 75 years, about 8 years ago, I'm looking and I ask from God, what I do to help my country? And I get inspiration. The best is to help Indonesia become entrepreneur. And then I prove is really entrepreneur good for the country or not. I take 30 people from Gajah Mada University in Yogyakarta. I teach them 3 months, and then about 50% become entrepreneur, and they are so happy. One, without money, he can become a developer. Without money, he become e-commerce in fashion. Without money, he open a small restaurant, and so on, so on. So they are so happy. So I make decision, I must help entrepreneur for instance. So we formed the Ciputra University in Surabaya. The only university who declare I am really a university for entrepreneurship. We have 6 days about education, Monday until Saturday. No, until Friday. And Sunday, all department come together, form team of 10 people, and start to practice entrepreneurship. We have about 3,000 students. Our university just 5 years, 5,000 students. You see how enthusiastic they are to learn about entrepreneurship. When they finish, we have maybe already finished maybe about 1,000 of them. We have still 3,000 at school.
1,000 graduated.
Already graduate. More 60% already become their own business. This, everybody already employ 1 or 2 employees. And so average 2. Already 2,000 employees with themselves 3,000. Yeah, the university, it has 1,000 people looking for job. 1,000 people. But to me, already employ 3,000.
So it's job creation.
Job creation. Because Indonesia has a lot of unemployment. Difference.
Right.
Singapore, very low unemployment because you are entrepreneurship. You bring people from outside to employ there because you create entrepreneur. Singapore maybe between 7 and 10% the people are entrepreneur. Indonesia maybe only 0.5%. There's total difference.
So does this go back to the importance of education? Because you also emphasize that people have to be of a certain level.
That's why integrity,
Yeah.
professionalism, and entrepreneurship. You need these three. If you don't have integrity, no honesty, no commitment, nobody believe in you. Yeah. Even your staff will not believe on you. If you don't know how to make a master plan, you don't know how to make a plan. How? And you don't know how to execute them. You don't know how to market them. And you need three. Once again, integrity not enough. This is now not enough. This is not enough. Must all three together.
Pak Ciputra, can we move on to the topic about leadership? Because you keep saying how you admire people like, Lee Kuan Yew, strong, charismatic, visionary, people like Pak Ali Sadikin. Is leadership something that can be taught to young people, or is it inherent?
You must have talent. And then you teach them, you train them. But what means talent? Talent consists of only three things. You have the passion to be success. You have ambitious to be success. This is the first. That I call one of the talent. Second, you have sumangat. You have to work hard. The third, dare to take medicine and risk. That's the talent. Everybody must have talent, but what is talent? Only this one. Like Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, he take risks. Yeah.
What do you think of Sukarno as a leader?
Oh, he is for independence very good. He's very nationalistic, but he doesn't know about economic. Why he's good for independent, but he's no good to run economic. That's the problem.
And you have picture of Pak Suharto on the wall.
Oh yes.
And various other leaders.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you rate the leaders?
Suharto also, he's very good. He's very strong, but his weakness only his family.
Indulging the children's businesses.
And too long there.
That's the problem. I think a lot of leaders, when they become on top of their game, it's hard for them to step down.
Oh yes, you're right. Where I stepped down when I was 75 years, I give to my children. Actually, from Jaya, I stepped down when I was 65. But I need more time for my children. 75, enough. Give to them. I just mentor. But I am lucky that my children, who three of them working at our company, they are very qualified. And they start from the bottom. They have to follow the procedure.
To learn the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can end on that note. But thank you very much for your time.
You.
Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Nancy.
it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.